I thought that life was just easy. I thought that everything that I wanted could be just handed down to me very easily. But I was a little bit mistaken. And as I grew up, I came to realize that there are some harsh truths about life that most of the time many people don't want to take into consideration. Many a times people don't want to accept. Many a times people don't just want to really get to agree that they are the truths of life. One of them is to be accountable. Many people don't want to be accountable. Many people don't want to do the right thing at the right time, at the right place. And so we always find an excuse. We always put the blame. We always set some perimeters. We always tell ourselves certain things does not work. Certain things are not the way we want. Certain things are not really working out the way we have always perceived that they should be working out. But we forget that at the midst of all of these things, at the midst of all of these blames, at the midst of these complaining, we always forget one thing. Before pointing away our fingers to other people for why we are not doing the things that are supposed to be done, for why we are not competitive enough, for why we're not just out there, for why our ideas is not out there, for why we are not doing the necessary things that we need to do. Many people don't want to be accountable. And it's very true. You may want to deny, you may want to accept it, but it is the truth. You will go through life. You will face multiple things in your life. You will face a couple of things that aren't going the way you always wanted. They are not the way you had always perceived that they should be. They are not the way you had always planned them to be. At the planning stage, as I always say, everything comes out clearly. Everything is very perfect. Everything is always outlined and it always seems easy. But it is until we take the initiative to start working on those things that we know very deeply inside that we need to be working on. It is until we take the initiative and start to be so competitive, so eager, so thrilled about life, about what we want in life, about the goals and aspirations and the kind of lifestyle that we want to live in, is when we change. As usual, you will agree, change is not easy. It is not like you will wake up one day and say, this kind of hobby I've been holding it for a decade and it have never been serving me, so from today I will just put it off and I will be okay. It always does not come like that. Sometimes we ignore the little things and we want to focus on big things. Sometimes we ignore small steps that are necessary, are required, are there to be like they are like foundation to everything that we want. We always fail to understand that at the root of everything, whether big or small in life that we are going to do, it always starts by a small thing. It starts with an idea inside your mind. The idea is very clear. You can put it down, you can write it down, and you can say, this is how I will follow through. But you don't, and you will always never judge what will happen to you tomorrow. Maybe you say tomorrow, I'll only focus on top 3 most things that I want to run on my business. You want to only take care of a little couple of things that you think that are important, but other things also springs out. This is the moment that we always don't envision. We always don't put it into consideration. We always don't take it into account. And when we get to this stage where we need to put some work out, we always forget. It's not how well we fight. It's not how well we can push. It's not how well we can do things. But it is always how persistent we can be and how we can never stop ourselves. Be a warrior. Being a warrior will always not be easy. It will always not be that easy. You will always sit down, plan, but you have to also be able to take into account that your plan maybe it won't work out the way you plan it. So every single time you have to prepare yourself for any kind of bad thing that can happen. And most of us, as I usually say, we don't always take that into account. We always don't want to overlook just what we have said, what we have laid down, what we have focusing on. And then when that challenge comes in, we say our plan it is not just going to work, and maybe we start thinking about quitting. And this is one of the worst things that many men and women always do. They start something in the midst of trouble, in the midst of chaos, they start thinking about, oh, it did not went well. They always don't stop and ask themselves, it did not went well for me, but what could I have done? What could I have taken into account? What could I have learned from the situation that I was in? And what could I just put down and say, okay, this is the extracted lesson from what I already gone through. This is not easy. It is not something that you will wake up and say, today I got it. I know this what was always killing me. Maybe this habit is what have been always draining me. Maybe this kind of people are the ones who have been draining me. Maybe this kind of perspective that I've always looked life with is what have been draining me. You will never know until you take accountability. After taking accountability, you have to be someone who can withdraw himself from the actual arena where things happen, and you start to think for yourself, okay, I was in there, but right now maybe let me look at it from another perspective, from another angle. I'm not in there. What could have happened if I was just someone who was working on something and I was working for someone? How could I look at it? What could I have not delivered? You will realize that you think and you make things work. The thought process that we have, the thought process that we always deploy, the thought process that we always focus on, the thought process that we always execute on, is the thing that always shapes us, is the thing that always shapes the ideas, the life that we want. And many a times we forget that. We forget about that because we focus ourselves on much negativity, more than we focus ourselves to the positivity. Like when something goes by, you are in your business and something goes by in your business, we always don't stop and look, where did I do wrong? We always point out our fingers to other people. There is no accountability. That is not accountability. Accountability, just sit there, you say, okay, this and that went wrong, but what could I do about it? Okay, this and this went wrong, but let me not act with my emotions attached to it. Let me look at it from another perspective, from another angle. And you realize that you change little by little, moment by moment, and you start to elevate yourself to the next levels that you really require. Always remember there's one thing. You have to be aware. Always. Always. Remain aware.